is a 1982 General Electric Model 3-6015A. This is the entry-level unit and the oldest one of the electronic tuning system series. This one doesn't even say ETS on it. But as you can see, it is a mono boombox, and it does live up to its name. It is quite loud and very hi-fi. Now that said, from this era, real boomboxes and all, you have this one in the lineup, the 3-6015A, the 25A, the 35A, and the 45A. They all have the identical clock timer tuner system. The 45A on the bottom, the blue one, is the top of the line model and is the rarest one of them all. The 35 is pretty common-ish, and those that know it is a kick-ass boombox. Its performance is nuts. The 25 is a mini boombox. That sounds bigger than what it should be. And then the 15 being this. This is the second least common one of them all. Off eBay, I managed to pick up the manuals for the 35A, the middle one over there. But in its little pamphlet here, it shows the different configurations for each. This, the 15, the 45, and the 35. And mind you, this is in the early 80s, very early 80s, when portable devices, it was not common at all to have a digital tuner, let alone ones that did have a clock on it where they're just for display. These ones actually controlled the devices. Yeah, there's the features of it. But timer feature included on all models except the 3-6015, which is this guy, unfortunately. So this one does not have timer functionality. It does have a clock, but not a timer. And then the rest are all the same, except the 45 has a backlit display, which is not lit up because it's not plugged in right now. Since I started collecting boomboxes, the first one I got was the 35A, and the batteries I put in it, non-alkaline of course, are the same ones from 3 years ago, and it shows no slowing down. Now that said, it does use identical circuitry, because when I first got this and I powered it on, this had a lot of dirty controls, and I was able to somehow get the timer function to show up on this, even though it doesn't support that functionality. So it's there, just disabled. So in going over the unit real quick, I had two of these. The first one I got was like $15, and I don't think there was anything wrong with it other than it had some cosmetic issues I was going to fix up. But when I got it, what I failed to look at in the listing, somehow the handle was sawed off, like right here, broken off, whatever, because this is metal. I don't know how it's possible, but it was. So I found another one that was also relatively cheap, like it was like 30 or 40 bucks. And I said it's not typical, because the last time one of these showed up on eBay, it was in the $100 range, because it is not a common unit. So this is a result of two different of these units put together, and I repainted the speaker grill. This could be a segue into what I had to do this. Take a look. And here's the first look inside the unit. Interesting, the circuit board says it is Rev 6. Wonder what the earlier revisions would have been. There is the Tanishin cassette deck, November 9th, 1982, with that skinny flat belt. Power transformer, power cord permanently attached with those wire crimps there. And I did repaint the speaker grill. And those are the buttons for the controls up front. Just like a remote control, I cleaned them all. When I got the unit, it had these AAA Duraleaks in there. Surprisingly, they didn't leak, but they were expired March of 2016. So somebody was using this in the 2000s at least. And right there is the amplifier chip. which is a Philips TDA 1011 2 to 6 watt audio power amplifier from November 1982. Interesting, it doesn't even have to have a heat sink on it. And while I had it on and up pretty loud, it barely got warm. Here's your typical values. You can actually run it up to 16 volts and have it output 6.5 watts. In this application, we're talking 9 volts, 4 ohm load, so roughly 2.3 watts, which would fall in line with the 3 watt rated speaker. But since this is properly rated, this thing goes up pretty loud and actually puts out some pretty good low end bass. And since I forgot to get any video of it, what you see on the left is the original $15 one I got, only to realize how bad of a shape it was in. Electrically, it was 100%, but the handle was somehow sawed off, and that's a metal handle, at least the brackets are, or the arms are, whatever the piece would be considered. And the cabinet was very yellowed and missing antenna. But the good news is it was able to provide the second one with a battery cover, which it was missing. Okay, now that we're back. So everything on this is perfect except for the antenna, which is what it came with. As you can see, it is not the correct antenna. The correct antenna would be all the way out to here lengthwise. I don't have an antenna replacement, so for now, that's what we get to use. Going over the unit, they all have the 5-station preset. Radio off on, bass, treble, volume, condenser microphone built in. You got your woofer, tweeter. And it's only a 4-inch, even though it looks like it's bigger than what it is. But don't let that fool you, because if you know GE from this era, it still performed extremely well. And this is where the power transformer is, so that's this decoration there. The tape deck is a Tanishin. It uses that single flat belt that's very skinny that there's no equivalent to it today. I have yet to find one where the belt was bad, other than I had to clean it. It's still enough tension if I cleaned it with rubber cleaner. And I did this like half a year ago, and it's still super strong. I never had to change a belt on one of these. But look at the transport controls. There is no pause, but stop and eject are separate. And of course, it has a monaural head. That really nice, thick plastic that looks like glass, that green around it. The only thing missing between the two of them, there's supposed to be a chrome piece right here, and as you can see, it's missing. That said, I think one more of these showed up on eBay after I got this, and it too was missing, so it must be a common issue for that to fall off. The one I mentioned from a while back that was over in the $100 range, that one had everything intact. So that's the front. And in 1982, this would have been extremely rare to have this, like a digital tuning mono unit. Yeah, 2-speaker system. Now, here's the back. So this does take 2 AAAs. It says life is approximately 2 years using AAA alkaline batteries. Well, I've been using carbon zincs, and it's been 3 years. But Panasonics, they're good for low drain, low current. One thing I'll say about the batteries is, unlike these three, where if it's plugged in and you don't have any batteries in it and you turn off the main power, these three will keep the clock and everything and all your settings retained. This doesn't. So this one's a little different on the circuitry. You have to have the batteries in this one at all times. So only 10 watts input. GE's just sipped power in, but they just pumped it out. The sound quality and loudness is incredible on these. AKJ in the Hong Kong facility. Just like RCA and Zenith had plants in Taiwan at the time, GE had two, one in Singapore, one in Hong Kong, and you'll notice a lot of their alarm clocks and telephones, etc., from this era came from those two places. That is until Thompson took over, and then he noticed it went to like Malaysia, then China. So it is a 9-volt system, takes 6 D cells. 9-volt in, earphone or speaker, extension speaker, and microphone. No remote functionality, but it has the hole in case you do use a microphone with that. Let's open the battery compartment. Now, between the two parts units, one didn't have a battery cover, the other did, so that's perfect. I made one good one out of it. And I'm trying to do this with the flash on, but look in the middle of your screen. There's your date code. The 51st week of 1982, so the very end of 82. This has a permanently attached power cord with GE's plug on it. I mean, GE made ones, used this plug all the way up until the Thompson era. It's really weird. They didn't even have a strain relief on it. And the foam is still good on here too. It's still very spongy. And even despite it being the incorrect antenna, it's still a rather long one, as you can see. So now, in traditional fashion, I will be doing FM, AM, of course, being problematic with modern electronics surrounding by, including these wireless mics, causing interference. That said, here is FM operation. So as you can see, it's very full sounding, rich sound. I mean, these are very good performers. This is a weak station. This is WJPA from Washington, PA. This is it's not a high power station. It's pretty far away, but considering I'm pulling it in like this, it's pretty good. I thought it was interesting how volume 0 to 20 instead of 0 to 10, treble plus and minus 10. You can switch between clock and radio on here. Now, I'm going to do tuning scan, so let's try this. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning of the scale here. Alright, let's, without messing up the antenna and doing anything, I'm by a big window. Now let's see what we can pick up. Press and hold to do a scan function.
Of their parents' experiences.
Well, it's hard to tell.
But Tim works with Empower, and he got good at...
There's two there, so we kind of cycled our way forward.
In prison?
No, but the funny thing is, like...
Listen. Peace of mind. This is Boston on DVE.
Simulcast.
Zero sugar, the best Coke ever. Try.
But it's one of those things.
Okay, now we'll do amplitude.
If left untreated, can lead to swollen or discolored.
Okay, that's the
Inability
only
to stand
station
or
I have
walk,
in AM memory.
neuropathy, even worse, blood clots, which can travel to other parts of your body. But here's the good news. Advanced Medical Vein Treatment Centers offers plans that treat and cure the condition, not just cover up. Grab your phone, take down this number, and call 800-809-7991.
For my friends at Coit.
Those are the sweetest nights.
Now, the one thing I will say, the tape deck on playback is fantastic. But the next comes the biggest downfall of the unit, and I think I know why they did it. And that was because of meeting a cost point. This would have been very expensive for 82. Well, you notice when I was around the back, there were no other switches or anything, not even on the sides, for an oscillator for the AC bias. That's where, unfortunately, it lacks. This is DC bias. They made this to be competitive with other models. So recording, you got the typical DC bias, background noise, and the sibilance and all the other distortions going on. But playback is fantastic. So we'll figure out what to play on it. And yes, this is a Type 2 tape Chrome with Dolby noise reduction, even though there's no Dolby or equalization settings on this unit for playback. But that tape there was recorded on the 3-6045A. All right, here is rewind. Very strong, very healthy. And there is a clutch for that, but no auto stop during rewind or fast forward, just playback. Eject. Let's try a pre-recorded cassette, a modern one.
There were lemurs in the wall. Once you see them, you can never unsee. I noticed something. Lemurs gonna live.
Auto stop. Okay, now we'll do recording on a vintage Maxell new old stock cassette. I have a ton of these picked up like for pennies at the thrift store like several years back. Normal bias, and let me eject this for a second. One thing interesting is, yeah, it's such an older Tanishan unit that even this is metal. Okay, and being as old as it is, this does not have one-touch recording. Observe. So you gotta press and hold and hit record. Okay, recording with the built-in microphone. This is DC bias recording, and it is not very good on this unit. That's its only downfall. Okay, recording with the built-in microphone. This is DC bias recording, and it is not very good on this unit. That's its only downfall. Oh, that new old stock tape is a bit noisy too. Oh, now it's stopped. Well, and this is a new old stuff. What, Bella? What are you doing? This is a new old stock Sony microphone, and it's actually heavy. It's made of metal, the whole thing. The carrying case, original plastic bag. It's super thick. Let's just see how this records with using an external microphone instead of built-in. All right, we are now recording with an external microphone into the 3-6015A. Pull it closer to my face. This is also the first time this Sony microphone's probably ever been powered on. So let's see how it sounds with an external microphone. We are now recording with an external microphone into the 3-6015A. Pull it closer to my face. This is also the first time this Sony microphone's probably ever been powered on. So let's see how it sounds with an external microphone. Okay, you heard the background noise. That's all DC bias, but I must say, this external microphone here works very well. That sounded really good considering. Again, that's why you have, on these real boomboxes, on these older boomboxes and stuff, you have external mics. The built-in one's more for convenience, if anything, but put an external mic on, that sounded great. I've never used this microphone before, and I love this thing. Holy crap. It's definitely like 60s. So I guess now we should just try recording off the radio. Let's find something without music to avoid copyright.
Of Paranormal Activity, those movies.
All right, well, my challenge to you guys, because you're both, touring a lot. The haunted room. Feel free to say no.
Hilton Garden Inn. They're like, we don't have any haunted rooms here, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't alone,
You can get whoever you want in there,
I'd be
of course,
fine. Yeah, I would.
So here's radio operation, radio record operation.
The older ones have a history. Don't go to the 7th floor. Look out for room 542.
Yeah.
Would you ever, for me, consider requesting the haunted room? The haunted room. Feel free to say no.
Hilton Garden Inn. They're like, we don't have any haunted rooms here, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't alone.
So yeah, DC bias. That is just so odd though, considering what it is. Everything else is top of the line on it. Like I said, it's probably just for cost reasons they left it off. So that's this unit's only downfall is its recording quality because it's DC bias, but otherwise it's a fantastic sounding unit. I mean, as you heard. Guess on that note, we'll conclude this video. So thanks for watching.
I would like to extend a special thank you for the support of our star patrons, Lexmarks 567, Marlow Bear 72, and Matthew Best.